just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Man, it's beautiful weather like this that I question why the hell we're inside and not outside golfing with the flu or something, using them PTO days as we approach the end of December, or end of the year, I should say.
Show over. We're out of here. Peace.
You don't have PTO days, right?
I don't have a hoop.
You know, you take off all the time. I defended you the other day because someone wrote in there, man, Kev takes off a lot. I said, actually, I said, listen, he does not take off a lot. When he is not on the show on certain days, just so you guys know, it is not because he's at home just kicking his feet up and, you know.
Correct.
He's at work. If he's ever not here, 95% of the time, it's usually because you have another commitment that is work related. So
about how many PTO hours do you roll over every year?
We don't get to roll them over.
Well, you know, in theory.
I don't get
you don't use.
I don't use. I'd probably say I do a Florida trip every year. So I lose about 75% of my days a year. I don't use them.
You don't.
And everyone gets on me. You got to use them. You got to use them. You got to use them. But as much as I try to pretend I don't like this job, I really, 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 really like this job. I mean, let's just be clear. If I don't get to yell at Shaw and some of these people for a day, I start, getting the shakes.
Yeah. Last year, I lost about 60 hours of PTO. So that's like 7.5 days.
So how many?
60. That's like
days?
Hours.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
Like, where do you think we work at?
Me and Clay
we work for the government.
I gotta, these companies, I tell you what, can't give you a raise, but how about 60 days off? How
about more PTO?
Yeah. Because what they do is, okay, 60 days off, but then every one of those days you're off. Hey, we need you to do this. Hey,
real quick.
Do that. Yeah. Hey, I know you're busy, but your schedule don't matter to me. That's usually what it means.
Hey, man.
So let's see. Justin Smith on Facebook. He goes, I have all mine gone by September. Yeah, like,
dang.
What is most common out there? How many of you out there are fortunate to have where your hours roll over? We don't. Ours don't roll over. So, like, is that common?
I don't know.
And how many of y'all actually you make sure that you use every single day?
My buddy, he uses all of his every single second.
Does he hate his job?
No, he loves his job.
It doesn't mean he hates his job. I'm just kidding.
He loves his job.
He's sometimes that plays a role. But
he's the main one barking in my ear. Like, you earn it, so use it. And he has so many hours at his job. Like, it comes down to, like, back of the year, he's like has a half a day, and he still takes half the day. He's like, I don't care. I'm gonna take it. I earn it. I use it.
Well, Nick on Facebook, he says, I use all of my 5 weeks. Good for you. Usually you get 5 weeks once you've been at a job a certain X amount of time. So good for you. Justin Smith says 100 hours.
Dang.
100 hours. I never realized how many of my hours I'd never used, Kev, until during COVID, our company had done a thing where we were allowed to carry over for the first time. So all of mine from 20 or 21, I think either way, we got to carry over for basically 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had almost 140 something hours I didn't use.
Goodness gracious. That's like,
now we don't get to keep anymore. They gave us like a deadline.
Like 16 days.
Yeah. So that's my point. I never realized, and that's with still using my 1 week a year that I go to Florida with my best friends and everything. Like we do that. But yeah, that's when I never paid attention to how many of my days I don't use until we got to carry him over. And then I looked at the, on the right of my screen. I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot of hours. That's a lot of days, but nonetheless,
my other buddy,
I bet people are like, I think our listeners really wish I did use more of my PTO days. Let's just put it that way.
My other buddy, they cash him out at the end of the year. So he only takes 1 week. He does like a family trip He doesn't do anything outside of that. Like, hey, man, Thanksgiving, we're off for 3 days. I'm going to just zoom up to go see family. Christmas, he's going to zoom up to see family. But at the end of the year, he gets a big check for not using PTO days. So I wish we did that.
Yeah,
if any of the bosses are listening to that, I won't take any vacation days.
There was a graphic I'd come across that said, how to get 46 days off using 18 days of PTO. So this is how to get, and this is for, in 2023. So how to get 46 days off using 18 days of PTO. So it says if you take Thursday and Friday off before MLK Day, you'll get 5 consecutive days off. So this is for 2023. So for those of you folks who hate your job out there, and I'm sure this has been shared around. I don't think there's like anything like that some of you haven't seen or heard of, but just in case, because when I come across this is the first I'd ever seen this. So again, in January of 23, if you take the Thursday and Friday off before MLK Day, you'll get 5 consecutive days off. If you take the 4 days before Good Friday off, and of course that one's covered, so to be this one won't move, so I can't get to that one, my fault. In July, if you take the Monday before July 4th off, you'll get a 4-day break. And then this is the one, see, I wish I screenshotted this poorly because there's like stuff highlighting it, but there was one that you can get 17 consecutive days off. So let me see. If you take 5 days off after Veterans Day and 3 days before Thanksgiving, you'll get 17 consecutive days off.
Beautiful.
Hey, I think I might pull that off next year.
I think so.
So one more time. So the 5 days off after Veterans Day in 2023, November of 23. If you take the 5 days off after Veterans Day and 3 days before Thanksgiving off, you'll get 17 consecutive days. And then in December of 23, if you take 4 days between Christmas and New Year's Eve off, you'll have 10 consecutive days off.
That's the best one. I think that's the best.
17 days? That doesn't interest you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it does, but like with so much traveling for holidays and everything like that, that would be pretty cool to do that. But like in the summertime, you're going to take vacation in the summertime anyway, but taking a vacation during the holidays, you had to go travel, do all that holiday stuff that you got to do, and come back and get a little staycation action.
Well, speaking of guys who use off days, I'm not really going anywhere with this. I don't really have a hot take on this either way, but Bengals fans are a little upset with one of their dudes. Bengals fans are upset with Mike Hilton. You remember Mike Hilton?
Yes.
Yes.
Slot cornerback.
So
for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mike Hilton has been ruled out for this Sunday's game against the Panthers. And Mike Hilton, the reason, I mean, for one, Mike Hilton's a very, very good player. I actually think he was one of the culture shifting guys that the Bengals added to that roster. I think when he's a guy that he's very vocal about, teammates getting taken care of. Like, I like Mike Hilton. Actually, as much as I like to poke fun at the Bengals, I'm a big Mike Hilton guy. I would love him in Cleveland. But he is the first to go to social media to defend his guys. And, he's constantly, putting his organization, not really on blast, but basically just holding him accountable. Like, hey, you got to take care of Jesse Bates. Like, what's going on with this Jesse Bates deal? I appreciate teammates that do that because I'm always, you know what I mean? Like, we always say, oh, we noticed when teammate, like, they use that against Lamar. I'm not trying to paint Lamar in a way, but like they were talking about how Ravens players, like, where's the Ravens players speaking out saying, hey, take care of him, take care of him, take care of him. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that Mike Hilton does that on Cincinnati. But Mike Hilton, he has a pinky injury and will be out, and he's been ruled out on Sunday.
Okay.
And Bengals fans are pretty frustrated with them. Not all. Some of you who are Bengals fans are like, I'm not frustrated with it, but there is a good chunk. And so the reason I say there's a good chunk is because he felt the need to go to social media to tweet out, Kev, about 2 hours ago, that y'all think I quit on my team. Folks are hilarious. Enough people are attacking him on social media because, and again, we always do this when we hear, oh, he hurt his pinky. He hurt his pinky. Now, to be fair, you are a cornerback. Could it impact your ability to intercept a pass or something along? Possibly. But you could still run. You could still jump. You could still deflect passes. You could still cover. You could still do a lot of these things. Who's right and who's wrong here? And by the way, we're live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook and the ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. And be involved in the show that way. Or give us a call at 518-1410. There is a snowball effect happening with the Cincinnati Bengals right now that I'm not doing the whole I told you so thing, but for a team that could not have anything go wrong for them a year ago, it just seems they can't, like, just when they started getting the offense going, the injuries started piling up. DJ Reader, Jamar Chase, Owuzie out for the rest of the season, and now this Mike Hilton news heading into the weekend. It's like, a week and a half ago. Joe Burrow's right. I heard him do in the post game the other night. He goes, last week we were the best offense in football, and now everyone's counting us out. That's how quickly perception changes. I agreed with Joe Burrow on that when he said that in the post game. But he's right. It does feel like everyone's counting them out outside of their own fan base right now. So I think this injury kind of just caught people at the wrong time. Everyone's upset. Everyone's frustrated. And add this as the cherry on top. So Bengals fans, those who are frustrated, they hear that's the pinky injury, Kev, and now they're like, oh, come on, dude. Like, you got to step up.
Right.
Are they right, though? Like, I understand where both sides are coming from. I would never say Mike Hilton quits on his team. If I could pick a handful of players from the Bengals to put on the Browns, I would pick Mike Hilton in a heartbeat. I'm a big Mike Hilton fan. I never once would think that he would quit on his team. I don't think that's who that is. I think he's one of the best leaders in football. However, I do understand the Bengals fans' frustrations when it's a pinky.
Right.
And you have guys out and your team is reeling right now and they need the leaders out there. They need everyone, all hands on deck right now. No pun intended. All pinkies on deck right now. I understand the frustration on that side too. Who's right, who's wrong, and is there a right or wrong here? Because I get both sides' frustration as far as this goes. I understand why people think it's not a good look. Like, he needs to be a leader. He needs to be out there. His team needs him. There's too many injuries right now for a pinky to hold you out, right? Am I wrong in that?
The pinky. It's the pinky. And that's why people are up in arms. You can look at Brian Robinson, the running back from the Commanders, who was shot and only missed 4 games, and he came back and played. So, like, people are looking at the injuries that other people are dealing with. Like, look, man, they got back quicker than that. You're out for a pinky. It's just a pinky. Wrap it up, tape it up. We got Eli Apple. He played with a cast on his hand last season because I believe they had a wrist issue, so he still played. So I understand where the fans are coming from. I would say the same thing if he was still playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd be like, what? You're not playing because of a pinky? It's a pinky, dude. Like, you're not a wide receiver. You're not a running back. You're a defensive back. You knock the ball down. Obviously, we would love you to intercept the ball, but your job is to knock the ball down and tackle people. You can't do that with a broken pinky or a ligament injury to the pinky. So I totally understand where the fans are coming from. But from the player's perspective, I want more information. Like, is this going to require surgery? What other issues are going on? Is there a nerve damage situation going on? Obviously, they're not going to give us all those details right now. So, and me just knowing how Mike Hilton was as a Pittsburgh Steeler, I know he's not quitting on the Cincinnati Bengals. I know he's not hanging it up or collecting a check like, man, forget this. I'm going to just chill this week. So I know it has to be something more than it's a pinky. Yes, on the outside looking in, hearing pinky is like, come on, dude, you can play. But I just got to believe that there's something more than, quote unquote, just a pinky injury.
Yeah, and again, I'm just following some of the Bengals reporters on social media. Jay Morrison just said no Mike Hilton this week due to the finger. Look for Jalen Davis to start in the slot with Hilton out. And then Lyle Collins is day-to-day with illness, by the way. Collins and Flowers both listed as questionable for the Bengals. So this list is just ongoing.
Right.
But already without Jamar Chase and you don't have a Woozy right now, I saw they took Dax and he wasn't practicing with the safeties. They had moved him. He was practicing with the corners.
And this is why they drafted him.
And yes, he was drafted for a lot of different reasons. Potentially the replacement, obviously, for Bates, Jesse Bates. By the way, that name, we haven't talked to Bates in weeks.
Right.
The other night when I heard Jesse Bates' name on the broadcast, I'm like, oh yeah, like with everything going on, like that was like, because the Bengals had such a quiet offseason, everything, they got their offensive line and then they checked out. They had a very good draft. They got their offensive line and like, all right, we done. There was no drama. There was nothing. So all that there was to focus on was Jesse Bates in the offseason leading up to the season. And then we haven't talked about him at all since the season began. But yes, Dax was brought in as a potential replacement for him, but he's also a very versatile player. He can be moved around a lot. So they're going to use him to kind of fill in, for depth purposes as far as that goes. But nonetheless, yes, it just is. So again, he has gotten enough heat on social media so that he could tweet out at fans and say, y'all think I quit on my team. That's hilarious. So there's that. But Keith Tolliver on Facebook, Kev, he goes, you shot my pinky toe. Now, I'm sure.
Kenner, do you know what movie that's from?
Yes, of course. It's from the Harlem Nights classic.
Okay, you must have came across there.
No, he did the hashtag.
Oh, goodness, Kenner. You never seen Harlem Nights?
Why do we do this every week? Why do we do this every week?
Do you know who's in Harlem Nights?
I'm not going to lie. I felt cool for a moment. The look of how proud you were of me
I
for
was.
a split second. I'm going to go and find that,
I was.
that moment. Like you were proud, like a dad was proud of his son. You were so proud of me for that second, and then I disappointed you because Keith Tolliver put the hashtag Harlem Nights Classic. So there you go.
Eddie Murphy, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Della Reese, some of the people in that movie.
Of course. Mark Smith said, well, hell, Paul blew his hand off. And he out there.
Yeah.
Damon Hod said, you guys ever get a broken finger? No. I've had a few.
I have.
You have had a few contusions and stuff like that.
I broke my pinky. If you can see it on the camera.
You broke my bowling finger.
Yeah, you can see my pinky's a little crooked. I broke my pinky when I was probably like 15, 16.
You know how you know I'm not an athlete? Look at these hands. Perfectly. Every time I see Anthony Munoz, I feel like, you know how when you meet someone that has like a lazy eye and you try not to like look at the lazy eye, I just can't not look at his damn pinky. Like his pinky is like
sideways.
Yes. As far as that goes. Let me see. Where did Mark Smith? Okay, so Mark Smith goes, I just want to say I haven't been watching so far today. However, Hilton not playing with the finger issue, WTF has happened to football players. So, Damon, when you asked if we had a broken finger, were you asking because like you're defending this? Like the more I'm sitting back thinking he should be playing, even if it's limited. But okay, so what happens if he drops an interception? Then he drops an interception.
Right.
But his coverage out there, his athletic ability, his just presence on the field, like he brings more to the table than just what he could do with a pinky. So yes, I do think it's fair that some people are questioning this right now, just because we're at the point where, you know, people are starting to question that kind of toughness now. So we'll see. Here's another thing too. Joe Burrow, I love having fun with the back and forth with the rivalry between myself, Browns fans, and Bengals fans, right? But Joe Burrow's a tough SOB.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's tough. Like, I don't know how Mike Hilton, as much as I like Mike Hilton, how you are perfectly healthy other than your pinky, and you're walking up and down the sideline, and you're watching Joe Burrow just get absolutely crushed, hit and gets back up, hit and gets back up. That spin move, Jonah Williams, when he was trying to block Myles Garrett last week, Myles Garrett just popped off the line, spin move, and crushed Joe Burrow. You want to know my favorite thing about Joe Burrow is watch every time. Have you ever seen him slow get up? There was the time against the Packers last year when he was
in the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, though. My point is what I'm always most impressed with is every time I watch that dude get hit and we all do the ooh, he's right back up. He's tough as hell. So I just it's like you can't be in a locker room with that guy who leads by example. He is, since 2020, Kev, no quarterback has been hit more times than he has, and he missed almost half the season of 2020. So, like, there's no excuse with as tough as he is, the leader on offense. If you don't, who's that guy on their defense that is leading by that type of example? I know, you know, Jesse Bates is a great leader. I get that, but he's on the way out. This is where Hilton could have stepped up. Even if he tried to play injured, at least give off the illusion that you're trying to play injured. Maybe there's more to it. Like we said, there's nothing else out there.
I got to believe there's more to it from he had a knee situation when he was with the Steelers. He had a neck situation when he was in Ole Miss in college and he played. So there's got to be more to this. And this isn't a contract situation because I think this is the middle of his second year with the Cincinnati Bengals. So this contract is relatively new. So this isn't a contract thing. I just think there has to be more, or I want to know more before I'm willing to come down and say Mike Hilton's soft all of a sudden.
All right, 518-1410. Bengals fans, I do want to hear from you. Is Mike Hilton wrong here? Are you mad at Mike Hilton? Mike Hilton has been ruled out for Sunday in the Bengals game against the Panthers. That line is still a 7-point line. The Bengals are still the favorite at home, reeling after that loss on Monday Night Football against the Browns. They desperately need to win as they head into the bye week because, man, you imagine after – the 2 wins that they had against the Saints and the Falcons, and they were just on cloud 9. Everything, nothing can go wrong those weeks. And then all of a sudden, within the snap of a finger, or a hip and a pinky finger, and a couple other pops here and there, everything's just completely different. They desperately need this win. But 518-1410, who's right, who's wrong? Where do you stand on this whole Mike Hilton situation? 518-1410. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 75. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 60. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy and very windy with rain, a high near 72. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Fall into a new career. KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings, second shift production associates, and equipment technicians. Material handling experience is a plus. This is an excellent new opportunity that offers an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at $19.75 per hour with annual increases. KTH is hosting open interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Visit kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer. Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage.
Or home office to create. You know what you need, you know what you'd like, but you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection, nobody has their discounts, and every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Are you ready for a mealtime favorite made famous? Then stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and order up a chicken pot pie combo for only $6.49. You'll get chunks of savory premium chicken, carrots, peas, and potatoes in a creamy sauce, all baked in a flaky pastry crust and served with a regular drink. This is comfort food at its finest. Get the meal that's oven fresh and wallet friendly with the chicken pot pie combo. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba. A 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20 to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks.
How is it already going to be Thanksgiving here in a few weeks?
Gobble, gobble.
My goodness. Time's just flying by. Ohio State, Northwestern, Saturday, a noon kick. Tomorrow, a noon kick. See, that's like I keep talking about, like, oh, Saturday. It's like it's a couple days away. No, it's tomorrow, a noon kick. 10:30 coverage begins right here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Dayton's radio home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio and 92.9 Jack FM. In fact, Keith Byers and I on 92.9 Jack FM and 1410 ESPN Radio will be live out at Submarine House in Huber Heights. I was in your neck of the woods today. It's a pretty cool spot over there. Like, they have really cool locations everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I like that they have that little outside patio area as well, but that's the first time I've been over to the location in Huber Heights. But Keith and I will be there at 10:30 going live throughout the pregame all the way up to noon. But those spots, there's submarine houses all over the place. But, man, like, those are some cool spots to watch the Buckeyes. It's our first year partnering with them, and we've had a lot of fun there. We're usually at the one in Kettering more times than not, but we've been making sure to kind of hit a different one each and every week throughout the season. So Huber Heights tomorrow, 10:30 to noon. Keith and I hang out. We do the pregame show, and then we hang out and watch a little bit of the first half with everybody. So come on out. Buckeye pregame show tomorrow, Submarine House in Huber Heights. Looking forward to seeing some of you there. I don't know. Actually, that's not true. I always look forward to seeing some of y'all. Y'all don't look forward to seeing me.
Now, make sure y'all get those brownie points and come see Kennerson and make the top 10.
I haven't put a top 10 together. I feel like it as a reward to, I don't know how many people want to be in my top 10 this week. Now, you know what? This is the first time. Remember the day of the Super Bowl when I changed my profile picture to the picture of the Rams?
Yes.
I got death threats and I got all these other weird things. That was the first time I realized that, okay, I got to cool it. Like, because I don't make enough money here to, get beat up by a Bengals fan just because I run my mouth a little bit too much. So, I took my foot off the gas a little for the rest of the year, but I kind of ramped it back up this week, and I'm starting to get some of them vibes from people.
Especially on Wednesday when I wasn't here.
Well, yeah.
Real quick on the Ohio State Northwestern game. What's the spread? What do you think the spread is?
You know it? You haven't?
I do.
I have not checked that all week. So Penn State, they were about a 15. I'm going to say 23.5.
38.
Jesus, are you kidding me?
Gotta
38?
38.
Look, Ohio State's blowing them out by 30, but
I'm banging on under, right?
I'm going to go with the under, but that's not a shot at Ohio State, and that's not a props to Northwestern, but that's a ridiculous line.
38. So what's the over-under for the total?
You want to know why? I think that's a safe, maybe I will take the over, and here's why. Ohio State, again, we're at that, there's not a lot to complain. I mean, Ohio State's run game's been a little dicey. I might take the over mainly because Ryan Day knows we're at the point of the season where it's a beauty pageant at this point. Everyone out there that likes to, a win's a win, and, we beat them by 30. You got to beat them by 31. Oh, we beat them by 33. Should have beat them by 34. Oh, you beat them by 39. We couldn't beat them by 40. Like, we're at that time of the season, whether it's right or wrong. And I think Ryan Day and the Buckeyes know this. And that's why, while these big marquee games are happening, you have Tennessee and you have Georgia and you have Alabama and you have LSU and you have all these big time matchups, Kev. It's really hard for Ohio State to stay on the radar of the committee. Not the radar. That sounds silly, but stay front of mind awareness with them. I think they need to pummel Northwestern. I think that line is, I'm going to say they go over. I'm going to take the over because of those factors right there, because of the big games that are going on tomorrow. I think Ryan Day knows that. But the one thing Ryan Day does that scares me is, and this is where you can't have it both ways. We get mad if they don't beat these teams by enough, but then we also get mad when, why is CJ Stroud still in the game?
Exactly.
So it's a double-edged sword, and I would hate that and this is what Urban Meyer has always talked about, the dangers of the college football playoff. Like, he even brought it up about that 2014 season. He said it made him sick to his stomach that he had to keep a lot of those guys in because, coming off that injury against Michigan with JT Barrett the previous week, you're a little bit, you're sick to your stomach. He got hurt when they were ahead by a ton of points. Like, the game was out of reach against Michigan when he went out. And he talked about, he knew in the Big Ten championship game, when they were up by 30, not up by enough, up by 40, not up by enough. Like, he knew their only chance to make the playoff was not beating Wisconsin or winning the Big Ten championship. It was putting up 50 and destroying them on that field. And he goes, that's dangerous. He goes, because you're keeping guys out there at meaningless moments of the game because you have to continue doing this dog and pony show. So it's a double-edged sword. You got to beat them by 40 tomorrow, but at the same time, then you're going to have guys like me saying, come on, Ryan Day, why is CJ Stroud still out there? So who knows what will happen, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, Mike Hilton for the Cincinnati Bengals added to the list as out for this Sunday's matchup between Cincinnati and the Panthers. Speaking of lines, as I mentioned, the Bengals line does remain at 7. They are a 7-point favorite at home. They do have the bye week coming up. One more time quickly before we get to the phones. Mike Hilton sitting out. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Where are you with that one more time?
Push.
I think
I'm going to go with thumbs down. My initial reaction is thumbs down because it is a pinky. Obviously, if it's like ligament damage and he needs surgery, obviously everybody will change their tune. But as of right now, you're hearing pinky finger, not even pinky toe for a cornerback. You obviously got to think like, dude, you got to play.
Yeah, like Jamar Chase right now out with that hip for up 4 to 6 weeks, potentially only 3 more weeks, maybe only 2 more games because they have the bye week coming up. So they might, get him back sooner rather than later, although, who knows what to make of that. But I don't know about DJ Reader, by the way. Maybe a couple of our callers here will know that. I haven't come across anything about DJ Reader, whether he'll be active for Sunday or not. But Awuzi's out for the rest of the season. That's, they already are very weak in their secondary right now. And that's why Mike Hilton, if you have Awuzi and you have these guys, all right, he's out, whatever. You want to maybe rest him heading into the bye week, fine. But coming off that loss on Monday, you can't afford to get upset on Sunday. You lose to the Panthers on Sunday, Kev. Like that's not a good thing. You're only a 7. I shouldn't say only. That's a solid line right there. You're
it's
touchdown
like a 38.
But in the NFL, you got to remember, like if you are a heavy favorite, you're at least a 7-point touchdown favorite. Don't get anyone like the 3.5 line right there is pretty close. But they cannot lose. They cannot afford to lose on Sunday. If they lose on Sunday, they're done. They're not making the playoffs if they lose on Sunday. That might be a very hot take, but I just think right now that's how important it is because it's not just about the record. It's about the psyche of the team. They're heading into the bye week. I think that right now, everyone just needs to be aggressive. I think Hilton needs to be out there. All right. You bang it up a little bit. Fine. You got 2 weeks to heal up before you come out. I think he should be playing on Sunday. I'm on the fans who have a problem with it. I'm on their side as far as that goes, but I want to go as far as to say, hey, you quit on your team. But,
I'm not going to say that.
But then what are we saying? Because maybe I don't know. We want to say the right things and say, hey, you're not quitting on your team. Tape it up. All right, Kev, who we got? 518-1410.
Charlie, line 1.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Charlie, how are you, my friend?
Well, hey, happy Friday, fellas.
You as well. How's the roads?
I just got off, man. My schedule's all screwed up, so I started this morning at 2:30 a.m., so I just got that.
I do not envy you, dude. I'm not I need my sleep. I don't know how you do what you do, so congrats and good for you.
Yeah. Hey, you were talking about the death threats and all that stuff, man. That's really a shame. Can I just say something?
What was it? You? Was it your alias? Was it you that made those threats?
No. Oh. I just want to say to everybody listening, I love Justin Kenner. Okay, this is just if you take out Bengals Browns, right? We both are Buckeyes fans. We're both Reds fans. We both love Frickers and Submarine House. So it's one thing, and it's sports, and it's just for fun. You know what I mean? Like people who get so crazy like that. Like that's the hard part about being a Buckeyes fan. I know some of them they gave Hartsock death threats when he dropped the pass, right, versus Texas. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. You just shouldn't be that way. And especially to Justin Kenner, because you make it fun to listen to, even though it might be a hate listen because you might be talking trash about the Bengals. But it makes it fun, man. God needs the devil, right?
Look, I try to have fun with it because the bottom line is I was trying to think at a certain point in my career. I was like, okay, this, like the way I talk sports on the air, I started thinking but when I'm with my friends, this isn't how I talk sport. When I first started and I was trying to do the Cincinnati Bengals are a 7-point favorite this week. Here's the keys to the game. I'm like, that's not how I talk sports with my friends. I want to be like on the air. Like when I'm sitting out here on the mic with Kev, this is how Kev and I honestly talk sports when we're not on the air. Like that was my goal was like, hey, we're sitting down talking sports. Like I'm going to talk on the air like I'm sitting down talking with friends, which is you guys. Some of y'all may not consider me that, but that's fine. But like, that's why people are like, oh, you're not professional. That's fine. I'm not trying to be a professional stiff news anchor where I just have to like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not doing that. So I'd like to have fun. Some of y'all should try it sometime.
Well, listen, I drive a truck. I work at at some point in 24 hours. I've listened to every radio sports show. I listen to all of them all the time. I listen to Ben Maller at like 2 this morning. You're good, man. And people just need to chill out. That's what people just need to chill out.
Thank you. You're number one. When the Kenner list comes out, you're number one, by the way. But no, hey, real quick, just because we have others on hold, your thoughts on this Mike Hilton situation? Because I like Mike Hilton. I said earlier, he's one of the guys on the Bengals that I would love to pluck and drop him on our defense, because I think we don't have any leadership guys on the Browns defense, and I think he would be perfect for that. But I say that also pointing out that I think this looks a little weird. I don't think it's a good look. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's a more severe injury than just saying it's a hurt pinky. But I don't think it's a good look. I think he should be finding a way to play, even if it's limited on Sunday.
I know Mike Hilton wants to play. I've just for having him the last year and a half and knowing what kind of guy he is, he definitely wants to play. I think it's kind of a gamble situation because, we're looking at the Panthers and we're like, maybe we can rest him. Maybe there is something else going on. Because they don't have to tell you exactly everything that's going on, or how severe something is. But if you're healthy enough to play, you play. And so that tells me there's something else more serious going on. And we're in bad shape in the secondary. So if we're going to gamble this week, we're going to let him have 2 weeks off, and hopefully he's healthy for the rest of the year. But if he plays Sunday and whatever's nagging him actually hurt, something happens, now he's out for the year.
It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But Charlie, good hearing from you, man. Have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, Hooday. See you, Justin. See you, Kev.
Later, Charlie.
Take care, man. Be safe out there on the roads. But he brings up a good point too, because so if all we're seeing is we base it off of a tweet that we see.
Right.
Mike Hilton's been listed as out on Sunday in the Bengals game against the Panthers due to a finger injury, and we're like, what? Seriously?
Right.
Like, we bring up, got Anthony Munoz, and we see that his fingers all pointed in different directions. I was watching the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and AJ Hawk, like, his hands are all like pointed in all these different directions and stuff. It's like, so we see that, we're like, well, that's, us as fans who, by the way, just cry when we stub our toe in the kitchen at night, right? Like, we're telling these guys, oh, come on, you big wuss, like, go out there and play. But if it is something that gets, severely aggravated, again, when he's out on the field,
right,
and now he misses more time. Now, again, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But nonetheless, this is where if I'm a player, like, I try to be as transparent as possible. Like that, transparency, I think, is key. Because I always say this, do they owe us that? No. Colleges are very buttoned up about stuff. And then colleges are the most sensitive people in the world when media starts talking about what they think is happening. I'm like, the reason media starts filling in the holes is because you dug them. If you fill the holes and you take away the narrative that we're trying to set, then we can't go there. So tell us what's happening. Ryan Day, tell us what's happening with Jackson Smith and Jigba so that I don't have to crack this mic and say, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is actually just dragging this out. I think he knows that he's privately told his coaches that he's not going to play the rest of the year, but he doesn't want the fans to think that he quit. So can we just make this a week-to-week thing so that I can stay in the good graces of everyone? Because I watched what happened with Nick Bosa and everyone reacted to that. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But fill in the blanks. Because you know what Nick Bosa probably said to guys like me and others who criticize that? Who cares? I'm about to go make millions. I don't care what you think of me. Be transparent. Let us know what's happening. Because if not, we fill in the gaps. And a lot of times what we fill the gaps in with is worse than what's actually happening. So There you go. 518-1410. Who's next?
We got Mark.
What up, Mark? How are you, sir?
Great. It's Friday, thank God.
No kidding.
Hey, Kenner, man, you said like earlier about the Bengals. Should we be mad at the Bengals or what about the injuries and stuff? No, we're mad at you because you wished it on us. You wanted all this to happen to the Bengals. And
I have a bunch of like voodoo dolls at home, right? And I just sit there with the pins. And like, I've left Joe Burrow alone, but Jamar Chase was free game, right? Like, that, right? Like, I have that power. Like, that's what you guys think sometimes.
Hashtag Kenner was right. I mean, you did it again.
Wow.
I mean, it's funny, but I mean, last year it didn't happen to us, and now this year we're dealing with injuries. And then, like, I think another thing that's kind of like ticking a lot of Bengals fans off right now is like when the trade deadline came up, Taylor pretty much just said, "Well, the players are happy with the players that are here now."
Yeah,
like,
we talked about that yesterday when
what?
he came out and said that we feel pretty good about the team that we have right now. And I'm like, I think if you ask the players aren't asking to be replaced, but I think players are looking around saying, hey, we should be strengthening up at certain spots or adding depth. We may need them for the next couple of weeks, but it would be nice to, even when we get Jamar back and get Awuzie back and get these guys back, to have depth behind them. Because that's the one thing Cincinnati showed this year. We knew that last year, Mark. Like, we knew the Bengals weren't deep last year, but they didn't have to rely on that depth because they stayed relatively healthy. They had some spot injuries here and there, don't get me wrong, but this year they're eating it, and they don't have depth at any of these positions, and that's the biggest problem right now. So I'm with you. I get why Bengals fans are upset that they didn't make any moves. I thought that was kind of silly.
Right, and then we get a tweet on Friday that Hilton's not going to play because his pinky's hurt. And you're like, what in the heck is going on? Really?
So you're
professional football players.
That's not a good enough reason to you, then, right? Like, you're not defending that. You're saying that's wrong. Okay.
And kind of like with what Charlie said, is probably a bigger issue, but they're just saying something just to, But I mean, look at what you're saying. You're saying you're not going to play because your pinky's hurt. I mean.
What do you think about on Twitter when he called people out on Twitter and he goes, y'all really think I quit on my team? That's hilarious. I didn't have a problem with the tweet. Obviously there's something more there, but clearly he's reading the tweets and he's feeling it too from the negative reaction he's getting from Bengals fans.
Right. I mean, look, and not to change it, but I mean, you can go to what happened with the Nets with Kyrie Irving. I mean, everything's real now. Everything happens right then and now. I mean, we know everything is going on within seconds of it happening, and things like that. I mean, why not just say, all right, look, I got nerve damage in my fingers and my hand, and if I play, it's going to make it worse. I mean, say something that's real. Don't tell us you hurt your pinky. I don't want him to catch the ball. I want him to knock the ball down. I just want him to keep him from scoring. I mean, I don't care if he gets an interception,
Absolutely. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you got to be true with the fans. That's all. I think they hide too much from you. It's just retarded there on my part.
Mark, have a good rest of your weekend, dude. You were doing so good.
Hey, you too. Thanks, guys.
My God.
I got nothing.
Why? Why do y'all do this
So
to
close.
me? It was a great call, and you had to do that. Come on, Mark. Aye. All right. 518-1410. That's the number to call. I do not know how, by the way, if anyone knows how to turn the volume off on this, I got one of them Apple Watches now. My beautiful wife got this for me for my birthday, and it's actually like one of the best gifts I've ever had. I love this dang thing, but I don't know how to turn it off. It keeps beeping.
I got you. Don't worry.
All right, cool. All right. So a lot of big games in the NFL. Let me ask you about this. We're going to get to our upsets coming up around the corner, but the biggest college football game that is not Alabama, LSU, and Tennessee, Georgia. The biggest game this weekend that is not one of those headliners is what? We'll talk about that next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Qatar, here we come.
Christian's travel agency has one
All right,
goal.
talk to you soon.
The world's biggest soccer tourney.
The hotel is 7 miles from the stadium. Are you serious? Did you email the transportation company?
Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster.
I don't speak it either.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece
800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff in store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Castrol Edge can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. 2022 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9%, 2022 Honda Passports and 2023 Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%, and all in stock for immediate delivery. We will save you money today. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We're located Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek. The right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Chris Cuomo joins News Nation. Cuomo, now weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern on News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com to find your channel.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner, and then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton, this is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. Have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Keith Byers. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for the coming week. QC Kinetics. Call 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on a Friday, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We're live on Facebook, on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, and on Dayton's ESPN, on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. My fault. It's the first time doing radio. Sorry, I still fumble over my words from time to time. Man, so today I tried to be a hater on TV.
Uh-oh.
And I butchered it.
Oh.
Joe Burrow is 0-4 against the Browns, right? So on TV today, I had this joke all lined up. I was ready to deliver it, right? And then I said he was 0 for 5. So I got the stat wrong within the joke. So no matter how funny the joke was, but a little play of the name of Joe Burrow. He's Joe Burrow and 4.
Joey B. Bad look. Bad look on Monday night.
I said Joe Burrow and 4. Come on. Joe Burrow and 4 against my Brownies. You don't get it. You don't get it.
Dad jokes.
It's all right. You don't get my joke. You don't get my joke. It's fine.
I get the joke. Just,
funny
bone inside the green.
So, let's see. Chad Kinster on Facebook, Kev, says, as far as Mike Hilton goes, wait, what? I'm not going there. I don't know what you're talking about. Something about Maury and all dads not being the father. She's still trying. What are you talking about?
Oh, boy.
Chad.
Oh, boy.
I appreciate that you stopped Maury to watch us, though. So, so there's that. Chase Carter says, Kev, about blowouts in college football. Blowouts are why I like the NFL way more than college football. From a fan perspective, we have to watch a lot of boring games for a team to qualify for the playoffs. Now, this is something that you and I have talked about for many years now. I think we did a topic a year or two ago that I said, why are we Buckeye fans? And this ticked a lot of Buckeye fans off. I said, why are we even Buckeye fans? Their games suck. Their games are boring. And they really are. Like, I love Ohio. I can't wait for tomorrow's game, but about 5, 6, 7 minutes into the game, I'm like, all right, game's over. Like, Chase, you are 1,000,000% correct in that logic of saying you like the NFL better because, as a Browns fan, I am nervous every single Sunday. Not this Sunday. I can relax a little bit. Every single game, I'm nervous, even in games that they're favored in. Like Bengals fans, you're going through a lot right now, but like Sunday, you should beat the Panthers, but you're even nervous, not nervous like you're doubting your team, but like you just know anything could happen. Northwestern's not beating Ohio State, folks. It's just they're not beating Ohio State. We're not nervous. We're not antsy. We're more anxious about the games going on around Ohio State's game because that will have more of an impact on Ohio State's season than what they do tomorrow against Northwestern. But yeah, Chase York, again, he goes, I like the NFL way more than college football. We have to watch a lot of boring games for our team to qualify for the playoffs, to where the NFL journey is just fun every single Sunday, whenever day, I guess they play.
Thursday,
Monday, Saturday soon.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand where people are coming from, especially when you're a team of a powerhouse program that isn't, necessarily struggling to get back on top. That's why I think we talked about this also, like that journey to get back on top. Like that Urban Meyer first couple years was real fun because we know we weren't elite anymore.
Yep.
Like we had taken a step back from the Tressel years and the suspensions and yada, 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 all that type of stuff. So it was kind of like the journey back. I always believe like the journey back to the elite is more fun than, every single year just saying like, well, it's championship or bust. I like the journey to get back to elite status. So once you are back to elite status, I think after that, it's kind of like you become that spoiled fan base. I mean, talked about this with KB a couple weeks ago. He was at the Iowa game as well as and it was like, man, the crowd is just like sitting on their phone, playing tic-tac-toe, really not watching the game. Us as fans, we're super spoiled because we have such an elite program that chances are we're going to win. And it's just like, it's more of a show to go to the Ohio State game than it's actually watching the game and being super engaged. Now, come that team up north, everybody's eyes are going to be locked on that field. I mean, everybody's was locked on that field versus Notre Dame, but those games are far and few between for the Buckeyes.
So how about this? A good friend of mine has season tickets to the Bearcats, and they told me, not like they're like, we'll never say this out loud because we'll just get destroyed for it, but the atmosphere at a Bearcats game kicks the atmosphere at a Buckeye game's ass, not even close. And I believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that alarms some of you. Not saying Bearcat football is better than Ohio State football, but when you go to a Bearcat game, the chances of them getting beat is significant. That's not a shot. That's the reality of it. That
They're
sounds
playing
like
a closer game.
Yeah, they're going to play in a lot more competitive games. They're not playing many of these games where the line is 38. Right? They're not 38. Cincinnati, have they been a 38-point favorite at all this season? Every single week, there's an entertaining game, or at least 2.5 quarters of an entertaining game, or 3 quarters, or an entire half. Ohio State tomorrow's game, it's done by first 5 minutes. Make sure you tune in to all 4 quarters, pre, half, and post game right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio. All right. So no, but that's a great point, dude. But yeah, like I don't think I think we all know this, but that, to be fair though, this is why passion with college athletics trumps any professional sport out there. We could say the NFL is king, and I love the Browns and you guys love the Bengals. You love your Steelers, but I don't think we bleed, we don't bleed our team colors for pro sports the way we do college, because here's the deal. If the Browns have to play, who's the worst team in the NFL right now? The Texans.
Steelers.
All right. Hey, Kenner, you're going to sit in the highest row possible at the Browns game this Sunday when they play the Texans. I know they don't play the Texans. I'm just saying. And I got to drive 3 hours, and I got to sit up at the very, very top, and I got to pay for parking, and I got to watch them play the Texans. No, I'm good. I'd rather watch at home. Hey, Kenner, Ohio State's going to play Northwestern tomorrow, and I know it's on the road or whatever, but hey, you get very, very top. But C-deck or whatever they call that.
Yeah.
Up all the way up at the top. And by the way, I've sat there before. Have you ever gone up there? And is it just me, or do you feel like you're kind of like looking
Absolutely.
down? Okay. So with that being said, there is that, I'll go, because there's like even a weird atmosphere at a Buckeye game is just an experience. An NFL game is not an experience. The experience is the game. So for Ohio State games, more times than not, unless they're playing Notre Dame like that. Yeah. So I get it. I really do.
Absolutely. I love going to games. I love going to big games. I don't necessarily like going to, run of the mill games, quote unquote, but you're right. It's an experience to go to these Buckeye games. I mean, there's so much that goes on prior to a game with tailgating and, after, and especially a noon game. There's so much to do prior to the game, and then the game is over, and then you have High Street. There's so much partying going on. It's just a blast.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We only have about a minute, 90 seconds here before we close out the hour, Kev. But your thoughts this weekend, again, 2 ginormous games.
Yeah.
Alabama and the propped up LSU Tigers. And then you have, of course, number 1 versus number 3 in Georgia and Tennessee. Those 2 games everyone's going to be talking about. They've been talking about them all week. We're going to be talking about them all weekend. But what is that one game that we're not paying attention to that we need to be paying more attention to that could have an impact on the playoff when it's all said and done? That non-Alabama LSU game, that non-Georgia Tennessee game. It's not Ohio State Northwestern. It's, Ohio State, yes. But, I mean, what game is the one that we're not focusing on right now to close out the show today?
Clemson at Notre Dame, night game. I know that Notre Dame got off to a rough start, obviously losing to our Buckeyes, but they also lost to Marshall. But since then, they've been playing some pretty good football, and they just got a big road victory over Syracuse, number 16 ranked Syracuse last week, 41-24. This is the biggest test for Clemson for the rest of the season outside of them potentially playing North Carolina in the ACC championship game. So for everybody out there that is saying Clemson isn't back or Clemson is back, this is a litmus test. This is going to be the game that everybody's watching for Clemson to see if they truly are still going to be able to make that run to go back to the college football playoff. And then on the flip side for Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, this is their Super Bowl. They lost their early chance to make a big statement versus Ohio State. This is their next opportunity to make a big statement versus a team that's ranked high in the polls. So this the game. I mean, Notre Dame is unranked right now, but they got Clemson coming to them.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like Marcus Freeman, they're not going to make the playoff. This has been a horrendous debut season for him with the Fighting Irish, of course. But you could say, like, if they end up beating Clemson and they beat USC in a couple weeks, and they're 4-loss Notre Dame team, he will be forgiven. But you can't not make the playoff, not sniff the playoff, finish the season unranked, and lose to Ohio State, Clemson, and USC all in the same season.
Right.
So he needs to hit on one of it. You lost to Ohio State. You can't lose to Clemson, and you can't lose to USC. You have to win one of the next 2 big games.
Yeah.
You can lose the rest of them, but as long as you will be remembered from that first season, you beat USC or you beat Clemson, right? Like, I think that's going to save him, not his job. He's not getting fired.
Right.
But I do think, as far as those who are uneasy with him, this will help. The biggest game this weekend that I'm keeping an eye on that is not that is not Alabama and LSU, and that is not Tennessee and Georgia. It's TCU and Texas Tech, and here's why. Texas Tech is not ranked. They are 4-4. Their biggest win of the season is when they upset Texas a few weeks ago when they technically didn't have their starting quarterback, but Texas is shown to be vulnerable anyways. But TCU, Kev, they're 8-0.
Yeah.
And people are furious that Alabama is ranked ahead of them. But if Alabama was hosting Texas Tech this weekend, here's why this is a big game. Alabama would not be an 8-point favorite with Texas Tech in town this weekend. Let's just be clear. And yes, you may say that doesn't matter. I think it matters. So I think what TCU has to do is they have to win, and they have to win big. Does it do anything for them as far as cracking the top 4? I mean, who knows what dominoes in front of them fall?
Right.
But Kev, they'll be 9-0. You got to blow out Texas Tech because TCU, this is big because right now they have a shot to move up. All right. If Clemson goes down,
right.
If Alabama loses to LSU, there are things that could happen that can make this game very important. So no one circled this. No one is paying attention to TCU, Texas Tech. No one gives 2 rips about this game. I do, because TCU was a major talking point this week as how in the world can Alabama be ranked ahead of them? You know what I don't want to hear next week is if Bama goes and blows out LSU. I don't care if there's a 10 in front of them or not. If Alabama just destroys LSU and then TCU barely gets by Texas Tech, that's a problem. An 8-point line in the NFL, that's a big line. An 8-point line in college is not very big. So that's why that game has my attention, Kev.
So Vegas is telling you that they're favored by 8. So if they win by 10, is that good enough?
It's not. It's good enough to carry the conversation into the next week. But what I mean is they have a chance here if LSU moves, because by the way, don't be surprised. You win by a field goal at home against Texas Tech. And then what if LSU beats Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Who says you're safe that LSU's not passing? We've seen crazier things happen.
Well, I'm rooting for TCU.
They're not dropping, but there's a lot of people who are TCU defenders this week. I don't want to hear a peep out of the TCU defenders next week if they barely hold on to beat Texas Tech while Alabama destroys LSU. That's all I'm trying to say about that.
And I mean, this is par for the course. This is what we do as college football fans. The new kid on the block or the new kid sitting at the cool table has to continue to prove themselves before we're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They have to do everything right for us to say, okay, fine, we'll allow you at the cool kids table long term. For them, I don't necessarily believe that this is the game, because next week they have Texas. And not only is Texas ranked, but Texas is also a brand name. Texas Tech is a basketball school. So nobody's going to be jumping over the hurdles, even if they do beat them 55-0. They're like, man, it's Texas Tech, whatever. The litmus test is next week at Texas. Texas is 24 right now. Texas, I believe they are playing K-State. So obviously for my own TV watching purposes, I'm rooting for TCU to continue to be undefeated, and I'm rooting for Texas to beat K-State next week so we can get a big matchup between TCU and Texas next week. So then we can really start talking about okay, TCU beat Texas, the same opponent that Alabama beat, and let's see the difference in score. Obviously, Alabama won by a point. If TCU wins by 10, 15, a field goal, people are like, well, they played a opponent and they beat them by more, and they both were at Texas. So that creates more talking points.
No, and I get that. And look, this is, I just mean as far as a big game this weekend.
Oh, for sure.
For immediacy. They're not winning a championship. They're not a lock in the playoffs because they beat Texas Tech this week. Texas Tech's actually it's a bad opponent to have right now, because you have a bad opponent and on your home field that you're only a one possession favorite over. And again, as we talked about in the NFL, an 8-point favorite, oh man, that's a heavy favorite. If you're 7 or more, if you're a favorite by 7 or more against a team, you're a heavy favorite to win that ball game in the NFL. That's not the case in college. So when everyone spent all week defending you, there's no way Alabama should be ranked. A one-loss Alabama team should be ranked ahead of an unbeaten TCU team out of the Big 12. There's no way. What you cannot do is that same Alabama team that they only have a 3-point loss against the number 1 team in the country. If they go blow out LSU and then you hold on barely to win at home against Texas Tech, you're undefeated. You're still undefeated. That's great. But you're going to lose a lot of people defending you if that's the case, which, again, they stopped defending you. Have you lost anything yet? No.
No, you're still in there.
It's also confirming what the committee's saying. The committee is even kind of telling us, we're not sold on them yet. So I do think that winning, Kev, no, it's not enough on Sunday. I do think they have to blow them out. It's not like they're going to be left out of the playoff right away, but the committee has already told us, you're undefeated. We get that, but we're not sold yet. That's why we have a one-loss Alabama team ahead of you. That's why we have the other unbeaten teams ranked quite a few spots ahead of you. The committee's telling us that they're not sold on them yet. That's why I think it's a big game for the playoff, because TCU is trying to convince the committee and all the naysayers that, hey, that's a bad opponent that came in, but we treated them like a bad opponent and we beat them like a bad opponent. That's going to go a long way. So we'll see. We'll see. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
At Menards, save big money with the 11% off everything. Update your home with Great Lakes vinyl plank flooring. It's durable and waterproof to handle whatever life. To find your style, it's easy to install and has added comfort with an attached pad. Get 11% off all Great Lakes vinyl flooring now at Menards. Good through November 6th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Ready? Lowe's, actually. Save on appliances like the 4-piece Samsung stainless steel kitchen suite. Was $5,146.
The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's. So thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The Ohio Education Association congratulates Amanda Hoffman, a reading intervention specialist in Springboro Schools, this week's education champion.
Good job. What I find rewarding is when the students are successful. Awesome job. When they are very successful, I'm usually jumping up, very excited, and it makes all the difference because then you see a big smile on their face when you get so excited about it. A-N-D-N. Good job.
Hi, this is Greg McAfee reminding you that daylight savings ends this Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Please set your clocks back an hour and fall back. So breathe easy and choose McAfee.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at DKNG.co/OH.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe to tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
Dave Yost for Ohio. Dave Yost for America. Stand strong in the land of the free. Dave Yost for you and me.
Yo Yost.
As our Attorney General,
Dave Yost is keeping us safe.
he's protecting religious freedom. And he's fighting to lower healthcare costs. Yo, Dave Yost. Paid for by Dave Yost for Ohio.
For you and me.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 1410 WING is going to be involved in a holiday help out that we'll have more information coming out early next week. But just keep that in mind for those of you who are looking for different ways to kind of give back to the community this coming up holiday season. I'm excited to be part of this. Actually started with a sister station of ours, with WROU and Faith Daniels, who's always done a fantastic job over in Trotwood, and that's the Trotwood Firehouse is where we've always, that's been our home base, if you will. Anytime that something tragic has happened here in the Miami Valley, Trotwood, their firehouse has been one of the most open, being one of the biggest open door policies as far as being able to go there and help give back to the community. But Faith has done this every year for how long now? I mean,
I want to say at least 8 years.
At least 8. Faith, a friend of ours, and does a great job at WROU. She literally stays the night at the firehouse she spends the weekend there.
Yeah, lives in there, moves in, brings a TV, brings everything.
Oh, she doesn't have a hooper either. She just stays there the whole time. But no, but we're expanding that this year to not just WROU and Hot 102.9, which, Kev, you've heard of Hot 102.9.
Yeah, right? I'm familiar.
You are familiar. The Kev Nash that does the show with you, Kenner, that's the guy from Hot 102.9, right? Because the guy sounds just like him. You mean the guy on Hot 102.9, that's Kev Nash, sounds just like him? I mean, there's a lot of Kev Nashes that aren't wrestling fans walking around the Miami Valley wrestling. So, but
we here,
yeah.
man. We here.
But no, so anyways, I don't even know why I gave a teaser to anything I can't give more information on, but just we want you to be tuning in next week so we can give you more information. But excited to partner up with a few of our sister stations like 101.5 Hank FM and 92.9 Jack FM for a holiday help out event that we'll be taking part in coming up here in the next couple of weeks, the weekend before Thanksgiving to be exact. But more information coming your way, I promise. So let's see. I've kind of ignored the folks in the comment section for a little bit. Today's show has just been very loosey-goosey. We didn't have a whole lot planned. It feels like a Friday, right? Like,
definitely.
We open up. Talk about our PTO hours. I mean, how many of you? What's your work policy? Do you guys get to carry your hours over to the new year, or is it use it or lose it? And how many of you lose hours at the end of the year?
I just cashed in about 16 hours. I just submitted a request.
A friend of mine works in HR, and the stories she tells me about the way people abuse that system is just ridiculous, especially the new, well, no, I don't know what I'm allowed to get into. I'll just be careful.
HR.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
But it's amazing. All right. So we welcome you back again. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. Mike Hilton going to be out on Sunday for the Bengals. We also talked about that to open up the show. I was surprised. Usually Bengals fans, your players can, light buildings on fire and you would support it. Like, you guys just have blind faith when it comes to your team. It's unbelievable. But I saw you guys for the first time ever turn on a player that's not named Andy Dalton today. It was unbelievable, Kev. Mike Hilton is not so popular with the Bengals fan base right now, as he, of course, is going to miss Sunday's game due to a finger injury. We've talked about that a little bit ago, but it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that as far as, is it more severe than what it is?
Right.
But the reaction to me is the story. It's not that he's out. That's the story. It's the reaction to it, as it's showing Bengals fans a little uneasy about where they're at in the season right now. They didn't, the injuries are piling up. They didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. You had that big loss on Monday Night Football against a team that they can't stand. And then you have not necessarily, well, I hate must-win scenarios, but where would you rank this Panthers game as a must-win? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's that big to you?
Yes.
The Panthers game.
They are 0-3 in the North. They are a 500 team right now. You have to win this game. You have to win this game to get that bad taste out of your mouth from getting blown out on Monday Night Football on Halloween where everybody was watching, and then get back on the winning side of things. I mean, eventually you'll start playing some more divisional games, but shoot, you got to rack up other wins too, because you've lost 3 division games already. So you have to win this game. This is a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
All right. Bengals fans in the comment section, do you agree with Kev? This is Kev hating, not me. Actually, it's not even hating. I've been conditioned by Bengals fans to think that this is a hating conversation, and it's not. But there's a lot going on. What you guys see is the Panthers. The Panthers on a must-win game. It's not about the opponent. It's about the situation that they are in right now at this point of the season. We're technically at the halfway point. I hate that it's 17 games, because the sports host in me wants to do that. We're at the halfway point of the season. Let's grade your team. You can't do that because it's 17 games.
Right.
Maybe at halftime. Halftime on Sunday, I'll put out a tweet. All right, we're halfway through the season, folks. But is this a must win? I think it's about, I kind of agree with you, Kev. It's not about the Panthers. I guess it's just weird looking at the Panthers and saying what's a must win, but it is a must win because I actually don't like, is it better to have a bye week when you're not playing well? Or is it better to have a bye week when you start to play well? Like the Browns having their best game of the season.
Right.
I hate that they have a bye week this week. I wish that they were playing Sunday to pick up right where they left off. I'm kind of worried about the bye week. I don't like the bye week for the Browns. The Bengals, I think they could have they desperately needed the bye week this week more than next week, if that makes sense. So where are you with that? Like when you're struggling, is a bye week needed, or do you think it's best to just keep getting out there?
Oh no, when you're struggling, you want that bye week, especially with dealing with all the injuries that they're dealing with right now. You need an extra week.
Excuse spell. I like it.
You need an extra week to heal some guys up. So they got to get this W and get to the bye week. So if they win by a point, 50 points, it doesn't matter. Win this game, get to the bye week, and then you face the Steelers. So you got to get this dub, most importantly.
518-1410, 518-1410. We'll get into our college upsets coming up here in just a few moments. But if you're just tuning in, no Mike Hilton on Sunday. Scale of 1 to 10, where do you weigh this game with the Panthers as a must-win on Sunday? I don't know if I look at it as a must win, but I agree with everything you're saying, Kev, as far as the reasons you have for why it is in your eyes. But I guess for it to be a must win, that means if they lose, what does that mean then? So if it's a must win and they lose, what does that mean then?
That means that the Browns get even more. They get more back into the running of the playoffs. And then obviously the Ravens, what they play on Monday night versus Saints. But then you have no wiggle room. You're losing more and more wiggle room further and further as the season goes along. So I just think it's a must win. Matter of fact, I think these next 3 games are must wins. I think the Panthers, Steelers, Titans, you must win those games. You have to get back to the playoffs.
Especially because they're going to be favored and they should win those games. Like, this is the other
Will
thing.
they be favored versus Titans?
Oh, the Titans, no. Well, you mean as of right now, as constructed? If they had Jamar Chase and everything, I think they'd be favored over the Titans.
Okay.
Like, that's one reason I keep jumping all over the Bengals is because they're not living up to their expectations. But right now, there's a lot of things happening that I don't have the same expectations for them heading into week 8 with being banged up as much as they are as I did heading into week 1 when you had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, the idea of Joe Mixon being who he was from last year. And of course, this improved offensive line. They're just not the same team that we thought they were going to be coming in. Matt Sturgeon said, I am frustrated that the line plays well against teams with average pass rush and trash against elite pass rushers. He said, Williams, left tackle, has to go next year. Yeah, Jonah Williams. I mean, you guys defended him a lot over the years, but he's regressed. He's gotten worse. Like, he hasn't gotten better. Frank Pollock, I was told, was going to come in and work magic. I don't think Frank Pollock has worked magic with this offensive line. It's like the more talent they've tried to add, the worse that it gets. Like, I'm not blaming Frank Pollock, but this is why I thought when people were trying to tell me, see, Kinner, we got Frank Pollock, we're good. Like, okay, relax. Like, you can go get the best chef in the world, but if you give him crappy ingredients to make a meal, the food ain't going to taste good. Let's just be real. All right, 518-1410. Nick, you are on, sir. How are you? Is this Nick?
It is.
Nick, you're on live. Welcome.
Thanks. I was just wondering, I'm a Bengals fan, and I was reading some stuff about Joe Mixon over this week, and just how poor his performance has been this year. Like, for pass blocking, he's ranked like 51st in the league.
In pass blocking?
Yeah, pass blocking.
Wow. Who's number one?
Yeah, who's number 1 in the league for pass blocking?
I don't have that answer.
Running back.
I don't have that answer.
It's P. Ryan. P. Ryan has allowed 0 pressures.
He's played enough snaps to be put into that category then. So, yeah. Well, that's interesting. I mean, and right now you almost like, even if you think Joe Mixon's a better running back than P. Ryan, you still have to go with P. Ryan over him if that's the case, because you need all the help you can get blocking up front at this point, because it's like you're putting Joe Mixon out there who's not producing as far as the run game goes, and he's not helping in protection at all. P. Ryan can go out there, produce just as little if he needs to, and at least provide extra protection. So I can see why you're frustrated with that.
Yeah, I was just curious if you guys thought this week against the Panthers, who don't have a good record, but neither do the Browns, and we saw what happened with that. But is it a good opportunity the week before the bye to maybe sit Mixon this week and start P. Ryan and just see what happens? It can't get any worse than it was on Monday.
No, and I get that. Nick, thank you for the call. I don't know. They're not in a position to sit anybody right now, right? I'm seeing a lot of, people right away start messing Chris Evans. People want Chris Evans, but then again, like, okay, Chris Evans, I think it's just this idea. Like, we do this all the time. We start throwing out names that haven't produced at a high level that we're hoping are going to produce at a high level. I don't know. I still think Joe Mixon's who you roll with. I know he's not performing well, but it's like, I think I'm falling for the trap of, well, maybe this will be the week that the switch is flipped. I thought he was going to run all over the Browns. I thought that the breakout game for him was going to come on Monday Night Football. I really did, because I've watched the Browns all season. I've watched them get just destroyed on the ground. And I thought that, oh man, I think Mixon just needs that kind of defense to kind of give him some looks. You know what I mean? And and kind of get that rhythm going. And that didn't happen. We have time. We have time for one more before we get to our college upsets. Kev, who we got?
Bob in Riverside. He said, don't hang up on him.
Oh, Bob, I ain't going to hang up on you. What up, dude? How are you?
Hey, you better not. I have to come down there, man. Hey, I'm going to agree. I'm going to take Cavs up a little bit more. Kev said a 10 out of 10. I say it's a 20 out of 10. They have to win this week. Now, of course, mathematically they're not going to be eliminated.
Yeah.
But like you guys said, when you start out 0-3 in your division, the odds of you winning your division, let's say they won the next 3 in their division, you're still 3-3. That's not going to win your division. So that means that you need to start piling up some wins. So I think it is a must win. I think they start getting guys back. They have the ability to go on a run, but it's a must win. It's a 20 out of 10, the way I look. Plus, they're at home. You know, they played so many road games. They're at home. It's time for them to be at home, and you got to stack up wins. If you can go 500 on the road and you win your home games, then you're usually in pretty good shape. So they have to absolutely do that. And let me mention one thing about like Mixon. Like you said, well, Mixon is like in the Browns game. I thought I was going to tear him up. But you can't tear nobody up when you only run the ball 10 times. I think Zach Taylor and them panic a little bit too much. When it's 8-0, 11-0, why do you just abandon the run? I never could understand why. And all coaches do that. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And when you just go back there and you're going against a monster like Myles Garrett, who nobody can block anyway. Jonah looked bad that game, but Jonah's actually had some pretty good games this year. Nobody can block Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is a Hall of Famer. Nobody can block that dude, especially one-on-one, especially the way they move him around. You just can't block dudes like that. So, but again, they abandoned the run. 10 rushes. I mean, seriously, that's with Jamar Chase out. That's absolutely ridiculous, if you ask me. But all coaches, for some reason, they do stupid stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, this is a must win, Justin. It's a must win.
Hey,
It's
Bob.
20 out of 10. Yeah.
Bob, you have a good weekend. We're just up against the clock today, but I'm not hanging up on you. I'm telling you goodbye.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Later. So Bob is right. So I get what Bob's frustration is. Again, only 10 carries or whatever it was for Joe Mixon this past week or whatever. But my big thing is a lot of people keep saying that Zach Taylor does not run the ball enough with Joe Mixon. And my big argument against that is that's not true. Like we got to Zach Taylor. He's the easy dude to look at and say, oh yeah, it's his fault. It's his fault. Joe Mixon has the 6th most carries of all the running backs in the NFL. And the only reason he has the 6th most carries is because the 2 running backs that played on Thursday Night Football last night moved up ahead of him. Otherwise, he would have the 4th most carries. So heading into that Browns game on Monday night, Joe Mixon had more. The only guys that had more carries than him, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. So that means Joe Mixon, that they are running the ball. They are using him the same way that the Titans use Derrick Henry, Giants with Barkley, Cleveland with Chubb. They are giving him the same amount of touches that the other teams are giving the most explosive running backs in the league. And the difference is that those guys are maximizing their touches and Joe Mixon is not. Whether it's the run blocking, whether it's, whoever you want to blame, I just think Joe Mixon is to blame, not Zach Taylor. And I think Zach Taylor goes away from the run mainly because of the fact that it's just not there. I mean, you know what I mean, Kev? Like, if I have a 3-point shooter who's not making threes, we would be saying, stop letting him shoot. Stop letting him shoot. Why would you keep running the ball with Joe Mixon? But I think to Bob's credit, or to Bob's point, it's not about Joe Mixon. It's just about running the football in general, whether it is Chris Evans or P. Ryan or Joe Mixon. So that's maybe the counter to Bob's point right there. But all right, Kev, let's, we only have a few more minutes here of this part of the show. So college football upsets. Your 2 college football. Oh, last thing here on the Bengals real quick. I did come across this. The Power Index projections. The Bengals are projected to win anywhere between 8 to 8.9 games this season. I know that sounds goofy. It's the percentages, but man, the Bengals projections of winning only 9 at the most games this season. That's how quickly things are tail spinning. In fact, their playoff chances right now are at 51%. The Cleveland Browns playoff chances are at 20%. So I'm not mocking the Bengals. I'm just saying like that, that's where we're at this point. But all right, on to college football, Kev. A lot of big games of college football this weekend. So that's why I always look forward to the chaos, though. The chaos. Where are we at with chaos? The 2 college football upsets you have your eye on.
All right, here we go. I have K-State at home versus Texas. Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. I got K-State beating Texas. K-State just won last week versus Oklahoma State. They put up 48, and Oklahoma State put up a goose egg. I say the K-State defense locks down that Texas offense, so I got K-State upsetting Texas.
So you got the number 13 team in the country upsetting the number 24 team in the country?
Texas is ranked. Texas is two and a half
You
point.
have that Shaw logic, man.
2.5 point favorite. That's the two. I'm going by the favorite line.
Oof.
Texas is a 2.5 point favorite over K-State. Then I'm gonna go to the Big Ten, where I love the Big Ten. And I especially love the Big Ten West. Right?
Are you doing what I'm doing?
Yes, I am. I am going with Michigan State to upset number 16 Illinois. Illinois is a 17-point favorite. I got Sparty. Sparty was been in the news all week for all the wrong reasons. I say that galvanizes the team, and Sparty upsets Illinois.
Yeah, so Illinois this season 7-1. I just saw last night. I was laughing. I posted on the Facebook page that this is why I don't trust stats in college football, because Illinois right now is the number 1 defense in the country. They give up 8 points per game. You can't score on Illinois. I mean, Ohio State is screwed here in a few weeks. I mean, they, luckily they avoid Ohio State, but in the Big Ten championship game, they are screwed if they have to run into. But yeah, I have Michigan State beating them as well, mainly because at some point, like, Illinois should not be 7-1. They are, and all kudos to them. But I've heard so many analysts say this is the worst 7-1 team in the history of college football. But they have a coach that has them believing, and that's all you can do.
Yeah,
Keep
and the style
winning.
of offense that they play, keep away.
Yeah,
so that helps the defensive stats.
So this just feels like an upset. There is no professional analysis in this whatsoever. There's nothing that Michigan State does that I can unequivocally say they are going to beat Illinois. But to your point, I mean, what's the line on that? I mean, Illinois,
17.
It's a 17. Illinois beating them by 17. I mean, at the very least, Illinois doesn't cover, but I am going to take Michigan State over them. And then the one that we talked about earlier, I could see this with Clemson over Notre Dame, or with Notre Dame over Clemson, because that's what you do. You take the team that's not ranked or ranked lower.
I'm going by the spread.
Holy moly, Kev.
I'm going by the spread.
Hot take, Kev Nash. Number 13, Kansas State, going to beat number 24, Texas.
Texas is favored by 2.5 points. I'm going by the boys out there in the desert.
You out here making these elaborate gambles and stuff.
Do we need to replay the audio from your picks last week? 0 for 4.
Holy moly. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? For me, my 2 NFL upsets, this is the biggest one. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers over the Bills. I think Justin Fields and the Bears are confident. They just beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. I think they get the upset over the Dallas Cowboys. College, Michigan State over Michigan. My other upset, the Big 12, TCU loses to West Virginia at West Virginia. Don't worry, I totally redeemed myself, though, on Monday Night Football.
Over under 23.5 carries tonight for one Nick Chubb.
I'm going to say under.
The Cincinnati Bengals have yet to give up a touchdown in the second half this season. So over under 0.5 touchdowns for the Cleveland Browns in the second half tonight.
I've already said it. I got to stay consistent. I think the Browns get 2 touchdowns. I was second half. Technically wrong, but
under
I was still right.
Interceptions thrown by Joseph Lee Burrow tonight versus the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to take the under.
Over or under 99.5 rushing yards for Joe Mixon on the
Way
Browns
under.
tonight.
I say the under kept.
Over or under 1.5 TDs tonight for one Amari Cooper.
I'm going to say under. Browns win tonight. I'm going to say 31-27 Browns over the Bengals. It's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. We had ESPN's Jason Fitz on the show earlier in the week. A lot of good stuff with him. His thoughts on Tennessee and Ohio State. Who would win in a matchup, in a showdown? If Ohio State, Tennessee ran into one another, let's say in the national championship game, who'd come out on top? We talked about that with Jason Fitz earlier in the week. Plus, he weighed in and gave his thoughts on what's to come next for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Are the Browns a playoff team? Did the Bengals season come to an end on Monday night? We talked about all of that with Jason Fitz. That's next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.